My stepkids told me they only answer to their real parents. So I changed the locks, cut off every privilege, and told their dad pickup was tonight. Hello Reddit I plus here. My stepkids once told me, point blank, that they only answer to their real father. That was the moment everything changed. I changed the locks, cut off every privilege tied to my name, and told their father pickup was happening that night. No one argued. You know what I used to believe? That patience, kindness, and showing up consistently could eventually melt through the walls that children put up. That even kids, if you loved them enough, would eventually love you back. Turns out, I was wrong. Because some people, yes, even children, will take every ounce of your generosity for granted and use it as fuel to disrespect you. My name is Daniel. I'm 45 years old. I've been married to my wife, Rachel, for 4 years. And this is the story of how I finally stood my ground. Not because I wanted to be cruel, but because protecting my own children mattered more than keeping the peace. When Rachel and I married, we brought 2 families under one roof. I had 2 boys from my first marriage, Caleb, who's 12, and Noah, who's 9. Rachel had 2 kids as well, Ethan, 17, and Lily, 15. Their biological father, Marcus, lives less than half an hour away. He sees them every other weekend, though truth be told, he's far more present in their minds than in their actual lives. From the very beginning, I bent over backward to make Ethan and Lily feel welcome. I made sure to include them in everything, family outings, vacations, even giving them a say in small things like meal plans and weekend activities. When school started, I bought their supplies, paid for Lily's piano lessons, and drove Ethan to football practice 3 times a week. I never wanted them to feel like I was treating my boys differently. But here's the thing about respect. You can't buy it. And you sure as hell can't beg for it. The first red flag came early. One Saturday afternoon, I asked Ethan to help unload groceries from the car. A simple request. He smirked and said, "You're not my dad. You can't tell me what to do." Rachel overheard, forced him to help anyway, and he stomped through it with the kind of attitude that could sour milk. I brushed it off. He's just adjusting, I told myself. Blended families are hard, but that moment wasn't an exception. It was the blueprint. Ethan and Lily developed this routine. When Rachel gave them instructions, they obeyed. When I spoke, they ignored me, or worse, laughed. I'd say, "Dinner's ready," and Ethan would shout back, "I'll eat when Mom tells me to." I'd ask Lily to pick up her things from the living room, and she'd reply, "Mom didn't say I had to." It wasn't just irritating. It was corrosive. They started undermining me in front of my boys. Caleb once came to me in tears because Ethan had mocked him for listening to me. "Why do you even do what he says?" Ethan told him. "He's not the boss. He's just some guy married to Mom. Just some guy." How do you explain to a child that in his own home, respect is apparently optional depending on whose DNA you share? I spoke to Rachel about it more times than I can count. She'd sit Ethan and Lily down, demand apologies, and for a day or 2, things would improve. But then the cycle would start again. "They're struggling," Rachel insisted. "Marcus fills their heads with stuff about how blood is thicker than water. They just need more time." But time wasn't healing anything. Time was teaching them that they could treat me like a doormat and nothing would happen. The breaking point came one Thursday night. I got home late from work to find Noah sobbing. His prized Lego model, the one he and I had built together over several weekends, was smashed to pieces on the floor. Through tears, he told me Ethan had destroyed it after Noah refused to hand over his gaming headset. And when Noah protested, Ethan sneered, "Tell your dad to build you another one. That's all he's good for anyway, buying things." I saw red. I walked into the living room where Ethan sat, controller in hand, blasting away on the PlayStation I had bought. "Ethan," I said evenly, "we need to talk about what you did to Noah's Lego set." He didn't even pause his game. "I don't know what you're talking about." "You smashed it." Noah told me what happened. He shrugged. "So what? Accidents happen." "That wasn't an accident. You threw it against the wall." Finally, he looked at me. His eyes were hard. "Even if I did, so what? You're not my dad. I don't owe you an explanation. You don't make my rules. Mom's the only parent here, not you." That was it. The exact line I'd dreaded hearing, finally spoken without shame. But instead of exploding, something in me went very still. "Okay," I said quietly. "I understand." I walked out of the room. That night I sat in my office and made a list. The mortgage, my name. Utilities, my name. Internet, cable, streaming services, paid by me. Phones, family plan, also me. The car insurance that covered the SUV Rachel drove Ethan and Lily in? Yep, me. Even the PlayStation Ethan was glued to. That too. So I started making calls. I canceled their phone lines, scheduled the internet and cable for disconnection, changed every streaming password, and then, the next morning, I called a locksmith. When Rachel came home that afternoon and found she couldn't unlock the door, her phone blew up with calls to me. "Daniel," she said when I answered. "What's going on? We can't get in the house." "I changed the locks," I told her calmly. "Ethan and Lily's belongings are packed. Marcus can come pick them up tonight." She went silent. "You can't be serious." "I am. They made it clear I'm not their parent, so I won't be providing for them anymore. Respect and responsibility go hand in hand. Marcus arrived before I even got home. This is extreme," he said the moment I pulled into the driveway. I looked him dead in the eye. "If your son told you that you weren't his parent, that he didn't have to listen to you, and that your children didn't matter, what would you do?" He was quiet for a long moment. Then, to my surprise, he said, "I'd probably want to teach him a lesson." "Exactly." I turned to Ethan and Lily. They stood by Rachel's car, their bags packed, looking both furious and uncertain. "This isn't punishment for being teenagers," I told them. "This is about respect. You don't see me as your parent, and that's fine, but parents provide. If I'm not your parent, then I'm not responsible for providing for you." Lily's eyes welled up. "You're really sending us away? You told me I had no authority." "Authority and responsibility come together. You can't have one without the other," she whispered. "But where will we go?" "To your dad's," I said gently. "He's your real parent. I'm just your mom's husband, remember?" They left that night. Rachel was livid. We fought for days. She accused me of cruelty, of abandoning her children, but I stood firm. I will not let anyone treat my kids like garbage in their own home. Ethan and Lily need to learn that choices have consequences. You cannot spit on someone's role in your life and still expect their support. And here's the thing. Caleb and Noah blossomed almost immediately. The tension was gone. They laughed more. They helped around the house without fear of being mocked. For the first time in months, our home felt peaceful. A week later, Marcus called me. "They want to come back," he said. Ethan especially. He's been quiet, thoughtful. He realizes now that respect isn't optional. And Lily, she misses Rachel. She asked me to tell you she's sorry. When Rachel and I discussed it, we agreed. They could return, but only under new terms. When Ethan and Lily walked back through that door, I sat them down. "I don't expect you to call me Dad," I told them. "But I do expect you to treat me like you would any adult who provides for you and keeps you safe. This house is built on respect. Without that, there's no place here for anyone." Ethan nodded. For the first time, his arrogance was gone. "I get it. I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much you actually do for us until it all disappeared." Lily whispered, "I'm sorry too. Things didn't transform overnight. But slowly, they changed." Ethan started coming to me with questions about college applications. Lily began saying thank you when I gave her rides. Caleb and Noah no longer looked over their shoulders in their own home. The true test came months later when Ethan asked to go to a late-night concert. He came to Rachel and me together, listened to my concerns, and compromised without a single snide comment. That was the moment I knew we had finally become a family. Looking back, I don't regret the locks, the cancellations, or the confrontation. Because sometimes love doesn't look like endless patience. Sometimes it looks like boundaries that sting, but teach. So was I wrong to kick my stepchildren out? Or was it the very wake-up call they needed to finally learn what family really means?